Hello best pals, how you doing? Welcome to twitch.tv/1030 and this is twitch.tv/1030. Oh, I forget I don't need to do the dubba dubs anymore because I don't have headphones in and I don't need to do the dubba dubs because I fixed the audio, so that would have sounded bad. Anyway, welcome to twitch.tv/1030. And that's what's happening, everybody. Now, let's go on with the show. Sorry, there was a wee slight delay there because I was fixing the televisions for you. How you doing? I hope everybody's doing lovely. I thought I'd come on because I wasn't on earlier today. Why wasn't I on earlier today? Because I'm the most tired I've ever been in my entire life. I don't know what the hell's happening, but I've sort of just slept for how long? I mean, I did get up for breaks and stuff like that, but I've been in bed for about just a wee bit longer than 24 hours. I feel like shit, man. Remember I was telling Stone Cold Steve Austin I feel like I've been kicked about a bit? So, but I think the rest has done me well. Child disease still got you fucked up? Hello, B. Dawn, how you doing? See, I don't know if it is the child disease. I don't know. Sorry to hear you're unwell. Well, I mean, I don't feel unwell otherwise. I've got like, do you know, I wouldn't even call it a sore throat. I've just got like a sensation here in my throat. And so obviously I've been like reading about all the scary stuff on the internet about my thyroid and what that does. But then I was looking at the thyroid symptoms and I was like, yep, got that one. So I think I'm going to go and get my thyroid checked because sweating all the time, yep. Lethargy all the time, yep. Like a lump in my neck, got that. Fucking head fog or brain fog or whatever you want to call it. Extreme sensitivity to cold. And so on. So that's my good news, is that I think I might have a thyroid issue. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I do. But it would be useful at this stage in my life if there was somebody who went, oh, that's your problem right there. That would just be really good. Because I've had something wrong with me for, well, I've got a lot of things wrong with me, you know what I mean? But I've had something that the doctors are just like, we don't know. Oh, unexplained intense anxiety. Yep, that's me. So apparently your thyroid can give you symptoms for years before you get a diagnosis. There was something else that was like, oh my God, that's exactly, can't remember. So, what do you do when this sort of stuff happens? You go and get it checked out like a responsible human adult. Oh, and speaking of being a responsible human adult, remember all the bubble scum for the bubble gun goes over my face and all that sort of stuff? But it also goes all over my keyboard, and I've been meaning to clean my keyboard. One of the few things I did today was I removed the keycaps on my keyboard, right? But I came down to stream and I forgot they were removed. So I'm playing this stream in hard mode. I don't know what any of my keys are. So that's going to be good, isn't it? I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, I've got a good idea for like a short mini project that we can do rather than just watch another episode of Tomorrow's World. And I'll tell you what that is in just a wee second. But I'm fucked, man. Never read about the thyroid. There's a dragon that sleeps near it. Cool. I would like, what is it they say? Before you fight your dragons, you need to identify what your dragons are. Who is it that said that? I don't even know. But I've sensed a dragon for the longest time. And it would be useful just for somebody to be like, oh, there it is. It is right there. Anyway, it is what it is. Hello, TD, welcome in. Hello, Skywatcher. Hello, Charlie Wen. Hello, B Dolan. Hello, Alex Gibb. No sound at the start of the stream. It just is. It is what it is. Hello, Cosmic Muse. How you doing? We are in a transitional period for the stream and the stream graphics. So things like the starting soon screen. I flirted briefly with copyrighted music, and we're not doing that again for multiple reasons. Cosmic Muse, thank you very much for subbing using Amazon Prime. Thank you very, very much. Anybody got your Prime subs? Anybody? Look down the back of the couch, see if you've got any Prime subs for me. Thank you. Cosmic Muse, you're a legend. Thank you very much. Let's go over to makers and crafting, because everybody, what we're doing tonight is we are making something. That might mean a lot to some of you. It might mean nothing to most of you. But I'm going to use this as inspiration. And we're going to bloody make a thing. And I'm quite excited. But I'll tell you all about that in just a wee second. Firstly, I would like to hear if you've got any good news. Big or small, what's your good news? I'm juiced up. I don't know if you can tell, but I've just woken up after being in bed for literally about 24 hours. I mean, I had breaks. I woke up, I looked after the dogs and stuff. But I'm working for the next 2 days. My day job is happening for the next 2 days. So I want to get back into bed kind of early. Just get as much sleep as I can before that. Jeezy Peeps, man, how you doing? Thanks very much for subbing. Welcome in. Happened to find this behind the sofa. Thank you. I thought there was a couple sprinkled around. But cheers, that isn't even a Prime sub, Jeezy Peeps, man. That's a real genuine 100% full fat sub. So thank you very much. So this is the Glasgow Underground Jacquard repeated pattern, right? So earlier on, I got a full seat from the Glasgow Underground, but it smells fucking bad, man. It's really stinky. So what I need to do as a separate project, I'm turning it into a chair. You might have seen somebody did that and they were featured on BBC News recently. The person that did it, I forget the username, is from in here. They're for the chat. So they saw me do it. They're like, I want to do that. They went out, got it. They did it before I did. And the project was so successful it got featured on national news. So that's cool. But at the same time, I'm like, I wish I'd got that out first, because I financially could have been doing with getting featured on national. But anyway, that's my own fault. I should have been proactive. But for that cushion, what I would like to do is get, like, you know, on TikTok you see people shampooing cuddly toys that have been just drenched in mud and stuff like that. Useless fake fan snakes. Don't calm down. I'm like that to Dawn. Stay back, mate. Stay back. He's no worth it. Stay back. I was like, that's seed cushion, mate. You know, on TikTok they've got like this shampoo stuff and it all expands and they do things. Jealousy is a sin. I know. I'm just sharing what's in my heart. I'm putting myself in a vulnerable place here, everybody, right? I'm not the bad guy here. Sorry, I need to get like TikTok fabric shampoo and turn it into a thing. However, right, I'm working. Oh, I can't operate my keyboard. Jacquard sweater. But I'll tell you what we're doing today, and it's a thing that I've been meaning to do for a long, long time. I'm working on my new website, and as part of my new website, there is a way for me to sell you and to get made for myself cool jumpers. And you know me and my cool jumpers, right? So I've been designing cool jumpers for the past wee while. And when I do get them made, they will look a wee bit like this. So it'll be actual, they won't be as expensive as this, don't worry. But they'll be actual knitted, machine knit based on pixels and stuff. Doesn't it look exactly like this? Fuck off. And I thought, as part of one of the jumpers that I want to put on my shop, how's about a repeat pattern of this, the Glasgow Underground retired fabric thing? Because I was looking at this, and it is all kind of just pixels. So I started building it, and then I realised this is more complicated than I thought. There's actually some pattern engineering at work here. This is more complicated than I thought. So I thought, I'll wait till I head into to Twitch, and we'll sit down and we'll do that. So that's what I want to do today. Tonight, rather. We're just going to take it easy, man. We're just going to take it easy. Mr. K. Watkins, good evening. Thank you very much for subbing. And Tune Maestro, thank you very much for the Amazon Prime. I love wee Amazon Primes. Thank you very much, Tune Maestro. Mr. K. Watkins, I love subs. So thank you very much for a sub as well. So welcome in, folks. Welcome in. You look worse on YouTube than you do on Twitch. What do you mean, Surrey Hunter? Do I look like haggard on YouTube? Or is it like just the compression and stuff like that? What do you mean? Pace Embrace says, hopefully you'll just get an old school GP who just tells you you're soft. Aye. Going to the doctor, they're just like that. Man up. Could you man up? YouTube adds £30. Which is interesting because I get zero money for YouTube. And sometimes I make about £30 on Twitch. Oh, keep those roids out of your thighs, buddy. I don't do steroids. That's a myth. All this is natural, mate. I actually did myself in there a wee bit. Oh, and muscle soreness. That was a different symptom. And I'm like, aye, my muscles are fucked. Valdraken, good evening. How's it going? Physical illness is the PL of the please acronym. Got to address that. Jesus Christ. For everybody that doesn't know, B. Dolan went to a physiotherapist and they gave him like documentation to help, but it was just a really contrived acronym for remembering the process of doing things. So it was like, what's a different acronym? You know, the HALT acronym, which is good because that works, right? HALT is good for decision making. So if ever you need to make a big life decision, halt and check yourself. Are you hungry? H. Angry? A. That took me a while. Lonely? L. Or tired? Because if you're one of they things, your decision making faculties might not be good. So stop and have a shot at that. Anyway, that's not the acronym that B. Dolan received. He received please as a word. And it's to do with health and stuff, and it's just the most fucked up, contrived acronym. I can't even talk, man. Brain fog. But the PL in please is for physical illness. And it's just, and then after that E, who knows, man? It was that bad. They had to actually say to the person, "Listen, this is bullshit right here." But it is what it is. Candlelight says, my mum got diagnosed in her 50s. Apparently it's genetic. I keep meaning to go and get it looked at since I've similar symptoms. Well, Candlelight, you've just answered your own question there. You didn't even ask a question. Get it seen, lad. What I've been looking at is you can buy home blood tests between like 30 quid and 50 quid. I was thinking about just doing that because trying to get a doctor's appointment these days is a bit like Takeshi's Castle. You need to be like poised. 859, you need to have like the number dialed in except for the last digit, and as soon as you're like that, you're in a queue of 5,000 people. Please hold. The queue is now 4,999. Please hold. And then you're like, you didn't get to the front of the queue today. Try next time if you haven't already died of whatever you're phoning up about. Boo. The NHS is wonderful, but it's very underfunded currently. Apparently there's loads of doctors. We've got tons of doctors, but we don't like to give them jobs or something like that. I don't know. It's the sort of thing that's difficult to read about because politicians and bad guys use it for like political points and stuff like that, and use it to kind of influence what we think about marginalised groups and all of that. Like the NHS is, I don't even know what to think about it anymore. Other than I absolutely support it. I support everybody that works in it, and we should be giving it more money. But it's difficult to figure out what's happening because so many people who want us to be misinformed are telling us things about it that I don't even know is true. Anyway, everybody, this is a bit heavy for a nighttime stream. What we're going to be doing tonight is working on this. I'm going to turn this into a pixel pattern so that it can eventually look something like this. It won't be as expensive as this, but in my merch store, I'm going to have lots of jumpers, man. I'm going to have lots of cool jumpers. My merch store is coming quite soon, and jumpers are a big important bit of my merch store. Oh, they're just going to be great. Going to have bubble jumpers. Going to have Fred the dog jumpers. Going to have jumpers that are replicas of the jumpers that I wear on stream. Going to have Pepper the dog jumpers. In bed today, I made a David Lynch jumper, and it looks fucking great, man. I figured out a build, because jumpers are difficult to make. It has to be indexed colours. I've got a palette of 16 colours of yarn that this company's going to knit for me in a jacquard fashion, and I can make half-tone images and stuff like that. I can do sort of pixel arts with dithering, Floyd Steinberg, Sierra. Here, what's everybody's favourite dither pattern? I know that some of you in chat must have a favourite dither pattern. Anyway, so inside After Effects, which you won't see today, but I built quite a clever diffusion. Cool, man. Hughes, that's cool. Dither pattern, exactly. Hello, Kate. Welcome in. How's it going? So I built like quite a complicated rig inside After Effects. So I've got like 16 colours that I can use for the yarn, but that is available colours. And per jumper, I can only use 4 colours, so it's a restricted palette. And when I'm building the bitmap files, they need to be indexed colours. Early on in the project, I screenshotted the palette because I want to work in After Effects, and the company have supplied Adobe Photoshop colour palette. And even though Photoshop's made by the same company as After Effects, you can't import a colour palette that's designed for Photoshop and put it into After Effects, even though they're the same company, and even though both programs have coexisted side by side, made by the same people for fucking decades. You would think they would talk to each other. You would think I'd be able to just, a colour palette, a swatch palette, take that for there. No, you can't do it. Anyway, so, Lexonian, thank you very much for 100 bits. Thank you very, very much. I need to get faster at making these so it's actually relevant. Lexonian, do you make jacquard things? Well, not tonight, but I'll show you the rig that I made in After Effects to answer this problem. So, After Effects doesn't import, thanks for the bits, doesn't import swatch libraries or colour palettes or whatever. Hello, Carver, I'm just up. I've just woken up. So, I just screenshotted the swatch palette as it exists in Photoshop, imported that into After Effects. That'll work, won't it? That'll work. No, it doesn't work, because about 6 hours after I did that, trying to figure out why the fuck everything's not working, I realised that when I screenshotted the colour palette and saved it out in Photoshop had a wee check mark when I was saving it that told the file to embed the monitor's colour profile, which skewed the RGB values of the swatch library that I screenshotted. And the only reason I screenshotted it was to know what the RGB values were. Oh, it was a fucking pain in the arse. It was a fucking absolute pain in the arse. Adobe, more like a jobby. Go fuck yourself, Adobe. Anyway. Eventually figured out that issue. And I made something kind of interesting. So the colour palette that I've screenshotted has got 16 colours. Actually, it might be 36 colours. I think it's about 36 colours. 4 times 9. Aye, 36. Um, so I've made a rig inside After Effects where that palette is just sitting as a guide layer, meaning if I render it, the palette doesn't render, right? And then I've got 4 nulls over the top of a locked palette layer. And wherever I drag that null, I got ChatGPT to write a wee bit of script that samples the layer underneath, which is the colour palette. So I can have artwork, I can make artwork and just dynamically see what all the colour combinations look like without having to like refill stuff in. And oh, it's very clever. It's maybe one of the most clever rigs that I've ever made in After Effects. And then out of the 4 colours that I've chosen from a palette over this side, I've got a dynamic palette over this side that I've made. You might think, oh, dynamic palette, that sounds like a feature that's inside After Effects. No, it's a thing that I just made, like just a layer that I made myself, consisting of 4 shape layers that have got a custom expression applied to each other that looks at the colour that's under the 4 nulls that are over this side of the document. Then over the 4 one that I've got at the right, I've got 2 nulls over the top of that that similarly sample the colour underneath them. And those 2 nulls figure out what the trim pattern is on the jumper and what the background palette is on the jumper. So all of this means I can import an image and I can set all the colours. I've got a plugin for After Effects called Retro Dither that does like pixel art dithering, and that imports custom palettes. So all my work all just sort of works together and it's magic. So it means that I've figured out a really fun way of designing these cool jumpers, man. However, I'm not going to use the... oh, halt! Laxonian, I just got that. Laxonian, I'm really enjoying these custom messages. This is dynamite. Also, I dig the typography here. This looks like some text generation on maybe a consumer grade video mixer from 1989 that somebody somewhere in a small town would use to put titles on wedding videos. I'm not going to demo my After Effects thing today. I'm trying to go for the retro. I really appreciate it. We're doing this today instead of showing you the After Effects setup. I'm just doing regular pixel art, right? So this is a swatch sample from a Glasgow Underground seat. This is a pattern that means a lot to some people and absolutely nothing to others. So if I do this, you can see it's made out of rose. There we go, we're in focus. And then if I do it that way and do this, you can see that's made out of rose as well. And I've tried to make this pattern multiple times before. I used to have a sort of not fashion, but a clothing company, a streetwear brand, if you will, called Two Stripe, where we reappropriated Scottish stuff, nostalgic Scottish stuff. And I wanted to make a pair of women's leggings people's leggings. Anybody could wear them. That had that pattern on it. And I tried in the past to draw that pattern just for a photograph. And it is moquette waika is the exact term, that 100% is. But it's a difficult pattern to draw. So I've tried multiple times looking at stuff on the internet, like photographs and stuff of Glasgow seats, and it's a difficult pattern to draw. Multiple times in the past, I've tried to replicate this in pixels, but it's only now that I've got a physical swatch of it that I've realised why. Everything that I thought was like one square is actually got 4 threads in it. And I think that's what's messed me up in the past. I've got so far at drawing this, and I'll draw that bit, and I'll draw that bit, and then it goes to match up, and I'm like, no, something's messed up here. Something's not right here. But I think for every 1 pixel, I should have been drawing 4 pixels. So tonight, you're going to see me draw pixels inside Photoshop. You're going to bloody like it. Chameleon, welcome in. Evening, folks. Some good news. Glasgow scalped Fife 9-2 at hockey last night. And next week I'm starting dual carriageways in my driving lessons. That's dynamite, Chameleon. Imagine getting humped 9-2. Oh, you would just hang up your hockey boots, wouldn't you? You'd be like, I'm done. Hello, Vista Realms. Thanks for chatting for the first time in the chat. Thank you for streaming 10:30. Very chill and cosy, and I appreciate your knowledge and nuanced discussion on tricky topics like AI. Vista Realms, thanks very much. I appreciate that you appreciate that, and thanks for taking the time to say that. That's cool. It's nice for me to hear, because I'll come on here and I don't know. I just say stuff that interests me, and it's cool to get a bit of feedback. So Cinda says, good news, Stevja are in Amsterdam. Sad news though, we come home tomorrow. So Cinda, see, because you're in Amsterdam, double check that it wasn't actually today, because see, in Amsterdam time flows a bit weird, I've noticed. That's excellent news. Thanks very much for tuning in for your nice wee time away. That's wonderful. Dollars, I'm the bad guy here. Chameleon says, I posted the wrong score. It was 9-4-9-2 was my prediction for the final score at the end of the first period. Do you know, are we allowed fights in hockey over here? Is it ice hockey or is it hockey? I don't know anything about all of that. The closest was, I did graphics once for the Shinty World Cup. Anybody into Shinty? It's quite a sport. How it says Photoshop rather than Illustrator. Aye, it's pixels, mate. Pixels. I'm building, it needs to be raster pixels, because I'm making one of these called a jacquard sweater, and it's a bitmap that I need to provide for them. Is that what's these chops? Lebowski. So I need to be pixels. Right, everybody. I'm always all four of those. I forgot what I've even said, TD. Oh, the symptoms. Deary me. Have you got the NHS app up there? Do you know, I'm not too sure, Charlie, when. The NHS systems are completely different. Callback works here. Cool. Rachel is like a doctor. Rachel's a doctor whisperer. She knows how to do all the ins and outs and the back roads of the NHS phone system. So I'm using her guidance to aid me on this quest. Sorry, Hunter, you're a pixel. Sorry, Hunter, imagine coming in here saying that I'm a pixel. You're a pixel. Thanks very much, sorry, Hunter. I hope you're doing good. Thank you very much for resubbing. Contrived acronyms that just make things confusing, like how mirror signal maneuver is now MSPSL. Mirror signal position, speed and look. Imagine trying to drive and being like that. MSP, what is it again? And you've just rammed into somebody because you're trying to remember a thing. I remember when I was learning to drive, there was a wee, and I stopped learning to drive. I want to go back, but there was a wee saying for, you know, if you're trying to like come out of a junction but you can't quite see the road to see if it's clear. So what I was told, it was Wee Shed used to be a driving instructor, right? And so it was a weird dynamic because I'm being taught by my own dad, and so the whole like respect that you're supposed to have of a stranger in that environment, I mean I've obviously got respect for my dad, but if there was something, anyway. So when you're coming out of a junction, you're supposed to creep and peep. As in, like, peep them with your eyes. Keep an eye out and just creep out just to make sure that there's nothing coming. And my dad's very patiently trying to explain this to me. And I don't think I'm a good student. I'm good at self-teaching, but I'm not very good at, like, one-on-one tuition, because I will always have an opinion of what was just said. And I was saying, like, creep and peep isn't really the best way of saying that, though, is it? Because peep in a car, peep, peep, it's to do with your horn. And I know, obviously, that I shouldn't creep and peep, but if we're going to come up with terminology in order to... that's a beep? Well, what I was saying was, what about creep and peek? Because peek is unambiguous. Peak definitely doesn't have anything to do with the horn. My dad's like, just fucking, just creep and do whatever you want then. And I'm like, no, don't be like that. He's like, be like what? So I might go back to learning how to drive because it would be good if I could learn how to drive. But creeping peeps know what it should be called. It wasn't him that called it that. He was just doing his job. But don't call it creeping peep. Anyway. This sounds like afternoon talk. I know, Base and Brace, I need to chill myself out a wee bit. I had an idea of coming on and doing pixel art for this. I've just realised I've got less than an hour left. And I'm only leaving at the bit in the chat where Kate came in. All the best to your pals' employment status, Lead Belly. If they're a doctor and they're going to be unemployed, do you want to do homers? They could come over here. I'll give them a full afternoon of symptoms between Rachel and myself. Do you think we'll see a resurgence of backstreet doctors? Sorry, I'm very aware you just got tea slurp sounds. Sorry about that. I heard that we used to spend 350 million every week to Europe and we've spent more on the NHS since Brexit. Aye, what happened to that big bus? Remember we were all confused by a bus? Jesus Christ. Anyway, hello everybody, hello Lucy Kelly Carver, Cater Cakes, how's it going? I'm going to learn how to knit. Amazing. My mum is a good knitter. Knitting's class, man. I can actually knit. I mean, I might need somebody like my mum sitting next to me, but I know the whole that. I can do that. You do that, but I can kind of knit. Once I get to the end of a line, I need to put that. Right, how do we... And she'll come over, she'll be like, do that. And I'm like, right. Then I can go back to it. It's all about tension and stuff as well. Mr. Mediocrity, how you doing? Welcome in. I'm confused by a lot of things. Don't worry about it, because the world's kind of confusing. And then, usually in my experience, just as soon as you've figured out what the confusing thing is, it changes anyway and it becomes more confusing. Mr. Mediocrity, thank you very much for subbing. Welcome in. Welcome in. I like Sonny, and thank you very much for the background patter. I appreciate it. You're an embedded colour profile? Adobe, man. Sort out your colour profiles, Jesus Christ. Guitar Gods by name of Bob says, shows that rig, shows it now. It's on my laptop, otherwise I would be able to do it. Is that something that that would interest you? If anybody works in After Effects. Oh, like so did That's exactly what I'm after. That is exactly what we're going to be building today. Look at this. I mean, I say that. I've no started and I've only got about half an hour left. No, I've only got about an hour left. Lexonian, that's very, very funny. Goodness me. President Muffley, thanks very much for subbing. Hello, how's it even going? I've had a 4-week-old... Oh, I have a 4-week-old baby asleep on me and I can't move. Thank God you're here. President Muffley, I'm going to tone it down a wee bit for the sake of your 4-week-old baby. Congratulations, by the way. Here, everybody. Shh. Everybody. Could everybody in chat just type in lowercase, please? Type very softly. Type in lowercase. President Muffley, that's wonderful news. He's a legend. How class is sleep? My God. I don't want to rub it in, President Muffley, but I'm just out of bed and I've slept for... Well, I've been in bed for about 24 hours. Right, Hami's sent this over, which looks good. So it's a bit of software called Dither Boy. And it looks like with the rig that I've made, I can do all of this stuff and I've got more control of the colour palette. But the way that I've been doing this is inside Adobe After Effects with a special plugin called the Retro Dither that you can get from, oh my throat man, you can get from AE Scripts. Hammy, you probably know about Retro Dither. You've been using After Effects for about 50 years, haven't you? So this looks cool. For anybody who doesn't want to go through the After Effects route, this looks interesting, but it doesn't tell you... A big part of it is limited colours. So maybe this only does like a 1-bit dither, not quite 50 years. Aye, sorry, I realised as I was saying that it might sound like I was calling you old. Um, I was referring to myself. I've been using After Effects for what feels like about 50 years. Because After Effects is quite a mature software. I was saying how old After Effects was rather than how old you were. Call myself into a situation. Um, retro dither. So this is the tool that I'm using. But even then, I added on some like I used this as part of a bigger build. There's Lena. Remember Lena? She's on my starting soon screen. But we haven't a user for this purpose anymore because she doesn't want us to do that. Um, if you're in After Effects and you need to use dithering in like a video or an animation or whatever, I've used this for lots of stuff before and it's cool. But the whole problem of a limited colour palette. So the reason I'm talking about all of this is because I am designing jacquard jumpers because quite soon in my merch shop's going to exist quite soon, and I want to build the coolest stuff that there is. And so I found a company that will knit me actual real knitted jumpers, and in order to do that, you need to supply a limited colour palette bitmap file that only uses 4 colours. The 4 colours need to be very specific. They need to be chosen from a pool of 36 colours. And I've devised a really cool rig that I'll show you at some point. But not today. Not today. Pattern making is a skill. Oh, it absolutely is. 100% is. Hello, Steph Make Stuff. How you doing? What we're doing with the moquette. This is actually a new moquette. So this is like... But I'm going to try and pixel trace it in order to make one of the jumpers. Anna Realton says, I'm confused. What's a Glasgow pattern? Well, I didn't want to write Glasgow Subway because technically I don't know who owns this. I don't know if this is... well, I know who designed it. I used to work with the person that designed this. But basically, I don't want anybody to find this if they type in Glasgow Subway pattern. Because we're going a wee bit off radar here. Anyway, have you looking into textile pattern making programs? I haven't. No, I haven't. But I'll be able to do it in Photoshop. I've got Photoshop in my fingers. Is there no way you could photograph the pattern and then pixelate it with the software? Ball to skew, I could, but it wouldn't be very accurate. It would make compromises that I'm not prepared. I think if we were going to do it, we might as well do it perfectly. And this is the best way to do it perfectly. Hammy says, pixels are just a grid though. I personally would do it in Illustrator. Well, it's a grid that I'm looking for. And the deliverable has to be perfect pixels. So designing it in pixels is definitely the way to go. Definitely. I used to ice skate all the time. The Greenock rink had a big hill in it, which led into the main full rink. Some buzz when you were good enough to just pelt down. I've never been able to ice skate. Hello, Humdrum. Anytime I've tried to ice skate, I've just slipped and landed on my coccyx and felt like my lower spine shatter. Imagine you started lessons with someone new and called him Dad. That would be funny. Hammy says, my driver instructor gave me a great bit of advice. If you cause the other driver to brake, it's probably your fault. That's interesting. Also, if they have enough time to beep, they have enough time to brake. That's true. That's 100% true. Bidon says, just remember the creep anagram, then think of Grammy-winning supergroup TLC, turn left, cunt. That's good. That's good. I don't want to think of TLC moments before I die because it's some anagram. I hope everybody knows about the difference between an anagram and an initialization because if you don't, I think you just confused the two. An anagram is like scuba, where it makes a full word, and an initialization is like FBI. So, egg on your face. Left eye was cool, aye. An initialism, initialism, not initialization. Egg is now on my face. I'm not on the clock, fair enough. It is, Sorry to call you out like that, B. Dolan. My instructor told me we call it mirror signal manoeuvre, but remember it's mirror, mirror, signal, mirror again, then manoeuvre, and then mirror again, or something like that. TD says, don't worry about creep and peak, just fly out without looking and hope for the best that other drivers will stop you. Exactly. I'm the main character in this road. Deary me. Carivore says, I heard on LBC that there are loads of unemployed doctors and that pisses me right off. I heard a similar thing and it pissed me right off. And then I remembered to stop and think, like, anytime I respond emotionally to a headline or whatever, just give myself a wee minute and be like, right, I mean, obviously the news is terrible and stuff, but like, what can I do? Is it good to be constantly wound up just with these sound bites and things? You know what I mean? I just want a doctor. So your dad was driving instructor and you don't have a driving licence? Yes, Hammy, because of all of that. He was only a driving instructor for about 3 or 4 years before he retired. But, aye. Also haven't learned to drive yet. A bit younger than you, so not much. I would consider it if I didn't live in a major city and I just really hate cars in my soul. It's just money for me. See, learning to drive cost about 6 or 7 grand. And then after that, you still need to buy a car. And then after that, like petrol prices. Why so much? You need a minimum of like 40 lessons minimum to be allowed to sit your test, I believe. Cyberlink says I've put 4.5 grand in so far. There you go. Who else is learning to drive in chat? Beneath the Headphones is currently learning to drive. Cater Cakes is learning to drive. We've got a couple of people. So it's just the sheer cost, man. Thought you could do it on a professional with a family member who's licensed. Well, that's why I was trying to learn when my dad was, I learned to drive about 50 years ago. When my dad was a driving instructor, because he was just doing it for free. You know what I mean? So that's why I was learning then. But he isn't a driving instructor now. So I don't know. I think that's maybe something I need to address. Right now, I need to figure out if what I want to spend money on for the next year. Because I would really like to get dental braces. I'd really, really like dental braces. And for the same amount of money, I could learn how to drive. And it's like, I need to figure it out. Also, both those things cost about the same amount of cash. And I don't have that amount of cash for one of the things. So that's maybe why I've not done it. Can someone explain to me a bit of Glasgow pattern of what it is? I saw the swatch. So this is for the Glasgow Underground, the subway. Glasgow subway used to have this pattern. Time to code your own dither algorithm with a bias of arrangements of 1030. No, I'll just use that After Effects plugin. You know the whole thing, like every tool is a hammer? My hammer is Adobe After Effects. How much is it? Here's some towards it. Das Poopin, thanks very much. I like your profile picture. Thanks very much for 39 bits. I made a t-shirt using the subway map, but with music venues. Lots of people there who might have been upset about rights infringement, to be honest, but it was pretty cool. Fuck them, man. Just make it, release it. Everything's a remix, isn't it? If anybody gives you grief, just be like that. Well, you're a music venue, don't you like hip-hop? No, be like that. We like hip-hop. Just be like that. Well, hip-hop samples. Give them that YouTube video called Everything is a Remix and tell them not to infringe your artistic creative output and they'll be stung. But then if a lawyer starts to talk to you, then... But it sounds like a good idea. Right, I'm nearly at the bottom of the chat. Driving is so hard in that respect, but the reality is it's all about driving for you and doing good observations. Amazing. WeShed didn't charge me 7 grand. I got my teeth fixed and learned to drive in my early 30s. Both great decisions. They're both decisions that I've been sort of considering for since I was about 15 years old. Since more than half my life. I've already read some stuff here. I'd say 20 to 30 lessons is probably the average. I read that in order to sit your test currently in the UK, you must have 40 lessons under your belt. Might be 40 hours. I can't remember. I'll ask a woman. Hi, how you doing, Sugar Tits?
Hello, James. I'm here to help. What can I do for you today?
Well, I'm talking about learning how to drive.
That sounds interesting. What specifically would you like to learn about design?
No, learning how to drive, not design. And what I would quite like to do. She's a robot. She doesn't know. It's fine. What I'd like to know is, I've read that you might need 40 hours, or was it 40 lessons, minimum, in order to be legally allowed to sit your test in the UK. Do you know what I'm thinking about?
In the UK, there's no legal requirement for a minimum number of lessons or hours before you can take your driving test.
That's great. Cheers. That's all I need to know. Thank you. She was ready to say, however, but maybe I'm going on bad information. Laxonian, thank you very much for 100 bits. Dither Patter, that's dynamite. You can't be misogynist towards a robot. Can you be misogynist towards a robot? Do you know, these are the things we need to consider now that AI's taken over. You know, so what you thought is misogynist there was actually a piece of self-informed performance art that I did to make yous all think. And look at yous are all thinking now. Is it possible? It's like, you know, in Blade Runner, that scene where you're like, whoa, what the fuck are you doing here? But it's a robot, so she's not real. But on the other hand, she very much looks real, and she's got emotions and stuff. Makes you think and all that. Makes you think. James, does it hurt the AI when you objectify it like a 1950s ad executive? You just called it, B. Dolan. You just called it. So, back at you. Back at you. See, what I did there was actually very clever when I called her sugar tits. Daz Poopin, thanks for the 39 bits. And Laxonian, thank you very much for the 100 bits. You're class, Laxonian. That's really good. Laxonian's sitting there making graphics. Meanwhile, I have yet to start. But we're having a good conversation here. So I've told you wrong information about the minimum amount of lessons. I don't know where I picked that up for. She was ready to quantify and say, however, but I got all flustered. I'm with Coneheed, not sponsored. He's actually class. Best I've found. Just fucking chill. Up for a laugh and really damn good at what he does. There's a driving instructor in Glasgow called Coneheed. That's good. That's good. Wee bit scary, but good. Such a different culture around it. When I was in Canada, they just have driver's ed in high school and everyone nearly is getting cheap cars at 16. That's class. I've just never been at the stage in my life where I've got a spare 6 or 7 grand. It's never happened. I always thought, right, well, if I keep working, I'll be able to do that. Such and such. It just never has transpired. 1030 needs braces. Dental plan. 1030 needs braces. Dental plan. Blame Drake. I don't know what we're talking about, but I do blame Drake. Those clear braces are decent. My mate done some subscription thing and straightened his smile for his wedding in 2 years. Well, is it Invisalign you're talking about? I was very inspired by Roscoe. Roscoe did Invisalign, and his teeth look fucking brilliant, man. The number of lessons don't matter. The conditions where you're learning is what matters. Glasgow is pish, statistically one of the worst places to drive in the country. Number of lessons means literally nothing. I didn't know that, Cyberdonkey. That's cool. You can't be racist to a lift. Aye. James, I've just read that. Driving standards on the roads have deteriorated so much, it's not like 20 years ago. It is an excellent non-gendered pronoun I will stand by. That's fair enough. A lot of people go by it, I guess. But do you ever bristle if you're introducing your dog to somebody and the person calls your dog it? You're like that. There's no fucking it. It's they, if you don't know the gender. But as we know, all dogs are boys and all cats are girls. I think that's how it works. To be fair, I don't think you could live in most of Canada without a car. Aye. Like, America is designed to be driven around. Like, North America and Canada, I'm sure, would be the same. Whereas in the UK, everything's a lot more dense. So you've started with like cities that are like very, very densely populated. So if you live in Glasgow or something, you can get to the other side of Glasgow without a car. And if you do have a car, it's a fucking bastard. It's a bastard to navigate around with a car. Whereas if you're in America, and you just want to go and get something for the shop, you need to drive for ages that way. And I think a big part of that is when all the white folk landed, they just wanted to like consume as much of it as they could. Right, spread out, lads. Fucking put the petrol station fucking over there, and put Asda fucking over there, and I'll stay here. You stay over there. Let's just spread out, man. And then because of the mad petrol companies, they have hindered any notions to get like good sort of civilian railway cultures and stuff like that. But I don't know too much about Canada. Kate says, I've been driving for 30 plus years in the US, so I'll have minimal driving lessons here. Amazing, Kate. Just remember, it's on the other side and learn about roundabouts and you'll be fine. And learn it's this, it's not this. Well, this works as well. And that's all you need to do. I think it's the same otherwise. Took 2 lessons in the week before my test, passed first time, and I've been driving for the previous 9 months. There was a loophole where on the second provisional licence you could drive unaccompanied. I've never been breathalyzed once in 20 years of driving. That's dynamite. Congratulations. $4,000's well enough for a first car though, isn't it? Tuna Bistro, I guess it is. But like when my sister was learning to drive, you could buy a car for 250 quid. And now $4,000, like, if you get $4,000, I've not got $4,000. I don't know anybody round about me that's got $4,000. And that's after you've, like, even just a license, getting my provisional cost 75 quid. Fuck that. I had a provisional, lost it. I need to get a new provisional. So before you even put your arse in the seat, 75 quid. All the price of the lessons. Mine cost 39 quid. Right, why might I be talking shite? UK. Hold on, I can't type. Can somebody Google that? UK. I mean, I trust Kate. Provisional. Is it maybe your actual licence is about 70 or 80 quid? Aye, 34 to apply online or 43 to apply by post. This is looking very appealing. This is all looking very appealing. Ask Sugar Tits again. Right, we can't call her Sugar Tits. Sorry I did that. We can't do that. Anyway. Right, where do we go? I had my teeth straightened at age 35. Last thing I did, but cost $3,000. Also quite inconvenient and painful at times, eating, etc. I've been looking at it. I get quoted a wee bit more than that. But I've learned I can shop about because my sister's looking at it just now, and her quote was less, but her teeth are a lot less messed up than mine. Her teeth are like more or less fine. I think the reason why acknowledging that it's so important is because someone could go into learning with the belief that X number of hours is the normal average. And if they go over that number, they feel like a failure by default for no other reason than they set unrealistic standard from the outset. No one wants your experience to be sad. It should be positive, albeit fucking hard. Exactly. And it depends on the roads that you're on and all of that sort of stuff. Some people take 100 hours to learn, and that's fucking fine. But it all adds up. I found older cities like Boston in America walkable, probably because it was near where early settlers arrived pre-cars. Interesting. Got your licence at 16. I wonder how different my life would be if I had my driving licence at 16. I have 3 driver's licences, 2 lefties and a righty. Dynamite. Carivore, thank you. My provisional was 65 quid 20 years ago. I think it was 20 years ago that I was looking into this. So I think that's maybe where I've remembered that number. Sweet Cheeks. Maybe Sweet Cheeks. Sugar It. I called her Toots a couple of days ago. Anyway. I mean, you can get a great car for $4,000, an okay car for under £1,000. Can you get an okay car for under £1,000 now, though? Can you get a second-hand car that's okay for under £1,000? I don't know if you can. Because the price of second-hand cars went mental. But I've not been looking because I can't drive. I learned last year in Glasgow. It took me 8 months doing 2 hours a week, so probably 60-ish hours we missed lessons accounted for. Class, man. is a native of Massachusetts, Boston's roads. Sorry, I don't know why. I wasn't mocking you there. I just really wanted to have a shot. Boston's roads are very curvy and non-grid-like. Interesting. Some US cities are walkable and many are completely unwalkable. US suburbs are hell for walking. There's certain stuff where you just can't. There just isn't a route to walk. But if anybody's designing a city, please adopt the Glasgow grid system, just like New York did. Now, New York's on a grid, they copied us. Also, we had a subway before they did, I think. I've been saying lots of incorrect facts tonight, so I'm not going to say that with any conviction. It's probably true. Sounds probably true. Anyway, right, okay, you've inspired me to want to learn to drive. I mean, I already did want to learn to drive, but I need to weigh it up against getting my teeth straightened. I think it might be a bad time to get my teeth straightened because I'm going to be in Scroobius Pips's film in a couple of months. And so it would have been cool if I got my teeth straightened before that, but I've left it a bit late now, so I don't want to be on that and not be able to speak properly because I've got my equipment in my head. So also it would be very useful if I could drive when we're making this film. You can get a car with an MOT for under £1,000. Whether it'll last till the MOT's due is a gamble. That's fair. That's fair. Aside from the city centre and all that entails, if you go out the West End or South Side, whatever it is, and all the wee narrow streets trying to reverse park, what is a horrible place for cars is the South Side. See, round about Shawlands and stuff like that. Fucking hell, man. Too many people. Every single street, everybody's double parked. It's awful, man. Look at B. Dolan and Kate bonding through a mutual hatred for Boston driving. That's wonderful. Glasgow Subway predates New York City. It's one of the 3 oldest in the world. And speaking of Glasgow Subway, the project that we're doing today, that was professional and good, wasn't it? That I've not started and I've only really got half an hour to go, is we're going to start trying to map this in pixels. And it's going to be great, man. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. Lease a car rather than owning would be my tip to any potential driver. I've been considering that, Surrey Hunter, but like you're just paying it up and you never get to own it, don't you? I don't know. Deanston's especially awful. I used to live round about there. I used to live kind of opposite Deanston Bakery. Anyway. Hello, Rye 3D. I cycle through Shawlands all the time and you can't move for arseholes and 4x4s doing awkward 10-point turns like Austin Powers. Aye. And you can hear their car phone as well. Quite often when I was around that area, there'd just be somebody stopped at a junction. Literally this happened. I'm cycling past and I had to fucking go round him. And he's sitting in the middle of a junction, big 4x4, just one guy's in a suit. And you know how the car phones are really loud? So he must have had his phone through the speaker system. And I heard the person, and I was quite a distance away. It wasn't as if I was eavesdropping. I heard the person on the other side of the phone saying, well, if you're not going to put that amount of effort into this relationship, then I don't know why. And just at that, I was away. But it's dead loud. See, if you use your phone in the car, do you know how loud it is to the people outside? It's really loud. You can hear everything. So I was just looking at him, and I was going to give him a wee bit of grief because he just stopped dead in the middle of a junction. And then I heard that, and I'm like, do you know what? It's all right, mate. Good luck. Good luck with whatever that is. I'm just going to do my stuff over here. Anyway. For real, I used to just turn off the GPS when I hit the city limits and try to feel my way in the general direction. Just like in Severance when they're feeling the numbers. Just like spiritual sort of thing. Speaking of Severance, there's a brand new episode about to drop, and this episode is going to be dynamite. I've overheard this episode 4 is just going to be something special. Here, listen, see if you aren't already watching Severance, find a way to watch it because it's quite good. It's like Lost, but they actually know where they're going to go. And a brand new episode's about to drop in about half an hour or something. I really like the show. It is high budget. Everybody's got a big shiny Hollywood face and all that sort of stuff. But I tell you what, it's good. It's good. Anyway. Can't wait for Severance tomorrow. I think it might be out sort of any minute. I've only seen the first episode of season 2. Because I highly recommend starting at season 1. I'm kidding on, I assume you've seen all of season 1. I like to drive in the Highlands every time I drive in Glasgow. It freaks me out. 2 lanes is too many lanes. That's fair. I know people that have been driving for decades and just hate driving through the centre of town. Stresses me out driving through the centre of town, and I'm never the person driving. Just rewatched the third ep, Strangeness. I see the bit with the painting and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, fucking so good. No spoilers, thanks. But when Milchek gets the painting and he's just like that, and she's like that, it's very good. No spoilers. But you're just like I've been in that workplace. They're both like that. Anyway, I'm away. Right, see you later. I've been in a workplace kind of similar to that. It's fucking good, man. The way it's shot as well. Like he's in shadow and it's just solid white behind him. So he looks like a really dark silhouette. And then she's brightly, flatly lit. So she looks like a white foreground and behind her's all black. See the contrast, especially what they're talking about and stuff like that? It's fucking well made, man. It's really well made. We're in good hands. It's really good. Milkshake would have accepted a pizza party. He would. Or a waffle party. I'm more interested in the waffle parties, man. Listen, won't talk about it. If you want to know what we're talking about, watch Severance. Try and find a way to watch Severance. Your enthusiasm for Severance has put me off Severance. Yes, it's called demand avoidance. And I think I get it quite often, so the more people recommend that I watch something, the less likely I am to watch it. And I don't know why that is. I can have people that are really close friends, people who I respect, and I respect their taste in things, but the more people I hear that tell me to check something out, the more I'm like, nah, fuck you. Nah. It's why it was only recently I watched Sopranos fully. It's why it took me years to see the fucking one, The Wire. I haven't seen Game of Thrones, haven't seen Succession, haven't seen lots of other things because it's a neurotypical thing called, a neurodivergent thing called demand avoidance, I think. I remember reading a bit about it and I'm like, aye, that's me. Because why wouldn't, I like good things. And if my friends that I trust their opinion of are recommending good things, surely I would like the things that they're recommending. But we don't do it for whatever reason. It's an interesting wee quirk of brains. I'm not suggesting that anybody that does that is neurodivergent, but what I've heard is that a lot of neurodivergent people tend to do that. Her eyes remind me of the maid in Get Out. Aye, totally. The tracking on her right before that as she goes around too. I've got theories. It would be great if we could do a Severance only, like spoiler heavy stream, because I've got ideas about that show, man. And I've got ideas about a show that I've not had the ideas about a show since Lost. And I don't, it took me a while to trust television again after Lost. Anyway, I applaud it. It's now illegal to park on the pavement, isn't it? So I don't know what the South Sides are going to do. Oh no, 10:30's getting his hopes up for a piece of media. I know, Lost broke my heart, but this is my new thing. It's really good, man. Anyway. Not even in a bad way, just don't get to watch them, 100%. Never watched Game of Thrones because I was sick of everyone talking about it. Same here. And what ended up happening? The final seasons are just dog shit. Everybody's like, aye, don't bother. So I'm glad. That's days of my life I've just gained by not watching Game of Thrones. Breaking Bad, I watched Breaking Bad to the end. I tried revisiting Breaking Bad just a few weeks ago with Rachel, who's never seen it. The first sort of 5 or 6 episodes were like, this really didn't have the magic that it had the first time I watched it. Don't know if it's aged poorly or whatever. Band of Brothers, haven't seen it. I've heard it's brilliant. I've heard Succession's brilliant. Ozarks, I've heard that's brilliant. Like a contrarian? No, I don't think it is like a contrarian, because a contrarian will just want to be into the opposite because for just their nature, you know. And I think contrarians are valuable in society because you need somebody that's going to just be like, oh, well, what if this, what if this, what if this? So I think this is a different thing. This is closer to demand avoidance or something like that. Don't know what the deal is. Should check out the Glasgow subway moquette pattern. I should. Funny you should mention that. I had a really good segue earlier, and then you lot ended up saying really cool stuff. I think it might be yourself, Anna Realta. I told you about demand avoidance, pathological in its name too, which makes it sound sinister, but it's not. I totally. There's a name for it. I put off Lost and Game of Thrones and loads more because of that. I don't know if I can fully recommend checking out Lost now. The writer strike fucked it. I had a good time watching, particularly like season 2. Season 1, 2 and 3 were class. And then the writer strike fucked them, and then they didn't really know where the end was. So they were just like, fucking another episode when like these two characters you've never seen before called Nikki and Paolo do a thing. And you're like, do they? And then another episode, like Jack's dad shows up again. Whereas I think with Severance, they know where they're going. I hope they know where they're going. It seems to be like every episode we get a resolution for a thing, and that's good. It's good. In the modern pantheon, TV pantheon of shit, I don't know if Game of Thrones is really that special. Cool. Do it in Discord, maybe. Maybe I could. Maybe we could have a Severance Discord channel, and we could all get into it. Here, would you like that? Let's do that right now. Right? Going to go to my Discord server. Right? Going to create a new channel under community. I'm going to type... Oh, I can't type because all my keycaps are off. Severance. Is it Severance or Severance? I think it's Severance, isn't it? 18 minutes left to pixelate. Don't worry, I'll pixelate like fuck, man. Yo, Mr. White! Exactly. Right, let's create the channel. So I did it right, thank you. Boom shakalaka. So, for anybody who wants to talk about Severance, okay. I'm trying to just send you my Discord invite. I accidentally copied a thing saying hidden use copy button. Why can't I send you a Discord invite? 2 seconds, lads. Why is it not letting me do that? Is it because I'm streaming? I'm trying to copy the thing, but it's just copying the words hidden use copy button. Do I need to be off streamer mode? Disable? Why wouldn't it want me to put it? Invite people. Yep, there we go. So for anybody who wants to talk about Severance, I would love to talk about Severance. There is a link to my Discord. On the left-hand side, there is now a channel called Severance. And if you all want to talk about it in there, that would be brilliant. And maybe we could even do a wee live stream or something in there as well. Started watching BoJack Horseman again recently. It's still fantastic. That's another one that people have been recommending. I think the art style put me off originally because it was a bit similar looking to Family Guy. And at that point, I was just fatigued with Family Guy. It's more like the feeling of pressure or expectation makes it feel too much to live up to. Maybe. I remember watching Breaking Bad for the first time long after it aired, and I wondered what the fuss was all about until the bath scene. I mean, it is good. I preferred it the first time I watched it, and Rachel was like, I don't want to continue this, I've got other stuff to watch. And I'm like, you know what, that's fine. Haven't seen Saltburn as well, because everybody was like, oh my God, it's amazing. I'm like, is it? I'm sure it is. Anyway, I'm just going to go and scroll on my phone. Hammy says I've never seen the movie Titanic, mainly because I know how it ends and I hate that song. I really hate that song as well. Titanic, would I recommend it? I mean, it's a film achievement. It's something. If I was loaded up on the old cannabis, it's flashing lights and stuff. Is there other films to watch? Probably. Is it better than watching nothing? Maybe. Kate says, did any of you watch Devs? I was sort of into it, but one of the main characters really annoyed me. I haven't seen Devs. I haven't. I'll definitely partake in the Severance chat when I'm caught up. Dynamite. Well, Cosmotoro, there's a brand new episode today. So the rules of the Severance chat is you need to be most caught up, right? If you go on the Severance Discord, assume that everybody has seen the most recent episode. So there won't be any spoilers because there aren't any leaks. There was a big leak a wee while ago and it takes us up to episode 4, which we're about to see. So I think I'll put the rules up top just so that people don't get spoiled. I think that's fair, isn't it? Is there anything else I'm thinking about? Anything else that I need to consider when doing a Severance Discord channel? But you're all more than welcome to hang out in there. That would be brilliant. I'm sure you know, but someone in chat might not. Extra Weg is the artist who did the title sequence. Oh, right. I quite like it. It looks like it's photogrammetry. Oops. I once drew well, that's a bit TOS. Looks like that Albert Omos guy. Thank you very much. I didn't know the studio or the guy that put it out. Bojack's better than Game of Thrones. Cool. What was I going to say? Aye, somebody in Discord, was it Bowdy, just sent through, he found out the terminals that were used in Severance. Oh, nice one. The Severance channel is already very much happening. Look at this, man. We've got Milchek doing his mad disco party thing. We've got Extra Weg. Is that you, Hammy? I don't think that's you, Hammy. So this is brilliant. In general stream chat earlier, and by the way, check it out. Oh no, I don't know where this is. I don't know where Bowdy put it. Aye, here. Bowdy says, took me a while to try and get down, but the computer terminals in Severance are Data General Dasher D2s from 1977. So check these out, man. These are the props, and they look gorgeous. Look at them. So immediately I went on eBay, and I'm like, Data D2 computers. None. There's none. But that is a gorgeous object, isn't it? You's into that? I'm into that, man. This is a nice website. I would quite like an Apple II machine to replicate the Swan Hatch computer. But anyway, I don't need one of them. My house is filled with useless bits of technology. Anyway, right, we've got 10 minutes to do this computer pattern, don't we? Got 10 minutes. Here is the Discord chat. If anybody wants to talk about Severance or anything else, get tore into that. Get on Buy so you can search Yahoo auctions. Oh, aye. I've never heard of that. Buy. Paste and search for Buy. Proxy services, the most popular Japanese shopping sites. Is this what we're talking? Is it this? I always like to know good things. But that's cool. Never looked at it before, but Severance is already on my IMDb watch list. It's very good. Oh, aye. I was going to play this on stream. Maybe we'll do a separate Severance stream, but you can just like find the scary numbers. Nah. These ones, got a bad feeling about them. Nah, they're fine. So what's happening here, I'm programming an AI version of Miss Casey, who's actually looks like my wife or something. I don't even know what that is. I don't know. I don't think that's a spoiler. I'm just looking for the scary numbers. There you go. There's some there. There's more in that area. Maybe we'll do a Severance live. Well, this is a Severance live stream. Anyway. Can I do macro data refinement when I'm on the clock? Did you watch Silo yet? I haven't seen Silo. Sendico, interesting. Thank you very, very much. Hello, WeShed. How you doing? Welcome in. Daniel Schiffman made that web severance UI. Really? I'm very familiar with Daniel Schiffman. He's quite eccentric and he teaches you about p5.js. That's amazing. He's like an eccentric sort of guy. I've watched hours upon hours of Daniel Schiffman tutorials. He teaches at ITP and NYU. Amazing. That's cool. When Worlds Collide, was that a personal project or did he get paid to do it for the people? Code Train, aye. Any fans of Daniel Schiffman in chat? For a lot of you won't know what all that's about. But I basically go into the Severance channel on my Discord and we can all have a big chat about how great Severance is. Has everybody read the Lexington letter? Has everybody also read or listened to the audiobook for Rickon? Because that's out. You can listen to the Rickon's audiobook. Anyway, going to stop talking about Severance because a lot of people simply don't care about it. And if you don't care about it, I recommend you watch it because it's good. And you've got all of season 1 and most of season 2. I think we're halfway through season 2. So right now is maybe a good time to just get it watched. Anyway. It was a personal project. Interesting. What a great guy, man. Good old Daniel Schiffman. I'm not going to start this because it's really tedious. I think we'll do it another time. And I've only got 8 minutes until I go off here. I think we'll just do this another time. Look, I got as far as opening Photoshop, right? And then I'm like, oh, pixels. One will just do this some other time. I'll close file, exit. I'll close Photoshop. There we go. But trust me that my jumpers are going to be brilliant. I've spent a lot of downtime in the past week or so trying to figure out a rig for how to make knitted jumpers. And it's fucking cool, man. So I've made a David Lynch jumper today. And I've made a Stanley Kubrick jumper. I was thinking about doing one called the Autistics Collection. And it's about just Magians that I like their work. Can we watch this 1994 Tomorrow's World segment, please? Aye. Like someone says, there's an Easter egg on the Lumen Industries site if you go to the main level. Class, man. I really like their budget, their marketing budget. Right, we'll get this watched. This is a good shout, Hammy. Look at all these CRT monitors, Jesus Christ. Boom. Shakalaka. Right, let's have a wee look here.
Imagine a world where every word ever written, every picture ever painted, and every film ever shot could...
And every insult that's possible to insult, every hate group that you can ever imagine,
be viewed instantly in your home via an information superhighway, a high-capacity digital communications network. What that would mean is you could transform your home into a mammoth interactive entertainment centre, with the odd stock exchange and shopping centre thrown in. It sounds pretty
not to mention the pornography.
grand, but it all comes down to computers communicating. And in fact, that's already...
She's got as many CRT tellies as I do. Look at all of these. I think we'd get on. I really do. I think we'd go on.
Happening on something called the internet, that anyone in the world with a computer and a modem to connect it to a telephone line can subscribe to. There are over 20 million people connected up, and one person in particular I know is connected is the American President Bill Clinton. And I know that because I used this computer to write to him today, and I've already got a reply from the White House, and here it is, right.
Who dares me to write to Bill Clinton? Shall we do it?
Thank you for writing to President Clinton via electronic mail. The President is committed to integrating this dynamic medium into the White House. And it goes on to give some details of his government's policy to encourage the building of information superhighways. Now, I can't electronically mail our Prime Minister, John Major, because he hasn't got a modem.
You heard it here first. Well, no, you heard it in Tomorrow's World first. John Major's not got a modem. Aha.
And I can't find out what his government's policy on information superhighways is because it hasn't got one. At least nothing beyond the usual thing of leaving it to market forces.
How embarrassing.
But you can do more than just send messages on the internet. There's loads of useful information in here.
It's basically a series of tubes. Where's your keyboard? Where's your keyboard? What's happened to your keyboard?
Yeah, you can get news, recipes, and I found this satellite weather map in there.
That loaded quite quickly for 1994. That must be locals. You must have saved it off.
And there are interactive services as well. This is a shopping centre, and here it says it's just off the information superhighway. That's its address, and inside there's a flower shop, and it shows me the picture of the flowers I can order and tells me how much they.
Like the port is in the URL. 1994 branch.com:1080/. That's curious, isn't it?
Cost. Then all I have to do is tap in the address.
John Major had demand avoidance on the modem thing. That's brilliant. Kenneth Clark's like, it's really good, John. It's really good. He's like, aye, I'll maybe get round to it. Anyway, what was I up to?
Want them to go to, and of course I have to give them my credit card details to pay. And there's even some stuff about us in here. Let me just find that for you, because we've just put some details on the internet about tonight's programme and some pictures as well. It's all good fun, but what
It is all good fun.
limits the potential of all this is that it's relatively slow. You can't play a video down this, and in fact most of that stuff we've had to receive in advance.
I was right. Remember I said she saved it off? I was right. I've got just instinctual technology, something in me. I just know it, man.
That's because copper telephone lines are really designed for people to talk down, not for computers. But with an information superhighway built with high-capacity fibre optic cables, you're not limited to shifting around text and the odd picture. You can send high-quality sound and video as well. So when are we going to get all this then? At the moment, regulations restrict what services can be offered by phone companies, cable television operators and so on. But in America, for any company who's prepared to invest in an information superhighway, there's a new law which means they can transmit anything they like on it. Video, music, telephones, data.
Pornography.
To the lot, as long as they let other people provide services on it too. But it's not just a licence to print money. The companies will also be compelled to connect every classroom and library free of charge, so society stands to benefit as well. Here in Britain, though, restrictions still apply. BT, for example, isn't allowed to do cable TV, but they're developing some interesting ideas to get what they can out of their existing copper phone lines, like video on demand. We've got a setup here to show what they're aiming at. The idea is, from the comfort of your armchair, you'll choose whatever video you want, and it'll be played down your phone line to your own TV. It'll not just be movies, though. There'll be other TV programmes.
So the start of The Shining? Looks like the start. Nah, it isn't. It isn't.
Too, like this travel programme I've selected here. Now, the other thing is, because it's interactive as well, say I was wondering where he got his suit from, it'd not only tell me that.
Lots of jingling. I think she's got jewellery. Lots of jingling. Sounds like a cat.
But I can even buy one here and now via the inevitable home shopping option. Amani, fancy that. But this video on demand is a tricky thing to do without the extra.
What is it that's jingling? Do you hear the jingles? It isn't on her arms. Is there something on this top? Has this top got like bells on it or something?
Capacity of the fibre optic cables. I, for one, will be impressed when the real thing's up and running down phone lines. But it could well be the first taste most of us will get of what'll come rolling down the information superhighway. It's ironic that it'll come on old phone lines, but it could stay that way unless Britain develops its own vision of what sort of information superhighway it wants.
And it stayed that way still. The previous two houses that I've lived in, it's been copper phone lines. But strangely, as soon as you move out of the city, you've got full fat, amazing fibre, excellent broadband. But if you're in the city, it's like phone lines that have existed for, decades, which is strange because you would think that people inside the city would be all like, that's where industry is and that's where these sort of things would be put. But I suppose it's a lot more expensive to rig up a densely populated area. In fact, it wouldn't be expensive to rig up a densely populated area because for 10 metres of cable, you can then charge more people. You know what I mean? Why don't we just have full fat fibre to the door for every house in Scotland as a matter of extreme importance?
And how to get it.
There we go. The internet, everybody. Has anybody got any ideas? Like, have you used the internet? Carivore, thanks for the hydrate. I can't hydrate, sorry, Carivore. I remember my first use of the internet was in Airdrie Library, and I went to the Blue Peter website, and the wee Blue Peter ship was animating, and I was like, this is fucking cool, man, this is fucking dynamite. And then later on, we were downstairs in the Gallery of Modern Art, and there was internet rigged up, and I'm sitting using it. And the first thing I did was went to the Blue Peter animated ship, and I'm like, I went back there to see it, and I was like, this is cool. And it was so novel. There were people standing behind me, just like, just in awe of the internet. And somebody was like, do you mind if, because I didn't have anything to do. I was just using the internet. Hey, do you know that I've actually got a photograph of me on the internet? And I was like, no way. And there was like a gasp, an audible gasp around me for everybody that's like watching me. And she's like, do you want to see the... And sure enough, there's like this corporate headshot of a stranger. And everybody's like, no, oh, fucking hell, this is the coolest thing. The internet, man. It's incredible. Whereas now everybody's got it and we just take it for granted. And if it doesn't load, it's like absolute bullshit. Anyway, maybe it was earrings. I did hear rustling because the lapel mic in her hair, but I also heard stuff. Hammy says, a friend of mine worked at BT in the late 90s and had to do a tech demo for the bigwigs of a video call and remote controlling a computer from the other side of the world. They faked it for the floor below in the same building. Well, of course you would, wouldn't you? Of course you would. That's brilliant. Analog phone lines are going extinct in 2027. Interesting. They dug up a lot of the East End for fibre in the last year or two. I see. When I was in Partick, we had pish internet. When I was in a different house in Partick, we had pish internet. When I was in the south side, we had pish internet. As soon as I moved out here, excellent internet. My parents don't live in town. They've had excellent internet for, 20 years? Probably about 20 years. Excellent internet. So, it's weird. Too much aggro trying to replace them in the city, but you would think that's where more customers would be. You know what I mean? I'm just on the edge of the city and have 1 gigabyte fibre. Never had copper broadband ever. It's interesting. Because the ISPs are lazy bastards, but you would think they would want to make as much money as they possibly could. No, guitar god by name of Bob, we can't do that to real people. When I lived in Glasgow city centre, OpenReach could only offer me ADSL. Same here. The business next door had multiple OpenReach gigabit lines going in. Aye. A motion graphics company that I used to work for would just tether 4G on their phones. That's how they would deliver big files because they just couldn't get internet. That was right in the centre of town, just next to SWG3. Remember trying to convince my parents to get an ISDN connection when I was on 56k? That must have been a bit costly. OpenReach fibre allows 1 gigabytes up and down if you have FTTP. What's FTTP again? Fibre to protocol something. Let's make some websites where we can share ideas and quick updates on our lives. Well, Cosmotoro, fibre to the premise, I see. Funny you should mention that because I'm currently building my own website. Websites are coming back, by the way. Websites are coming back and I'm building my own one and it's going to be bloody good. FreeServe, I've frisbeed many a FreeServe CD, AOL, yep. My first ISP was Current Bun. It was an ISP. It was really cheap, but part of the Sun newspaper. And at that point, I was too young to appreciate that the Sun newspaper are absolute scumbags. And then CompuServe, I think. Can't remember. Been through about a handful of ISPs in the day. Blue Yonder, they turned into TeleWest. I think it was NTL for a wee bit as well. FitDad says, I can confirm the south side now has access to dedicated fibre lines for hussies. Dug up my whole front garden and fucked the wall a bit, but totally worth it. Aye, totally worth it, man. Amazing. We should says, I had 6 folk in my house last weekend, all using the net at once. And it was solid. And you had the telly on and all of that. Good, solid, proper internet. Around the turn of the century, when my peers were in university in Australia, the main connection out of the country was dual ISDN for the full country. I made myself a custom site half a decade ago. Still updating it, fun times. Absolutely, man. Do you remember the buzz of building a website back in the day? Nowadays, you go out to Squarespace, you're just like, blah, blah, blah. Or like Twitter, you can just type a thing and it exists on the internet. Remember back in the day, try to log into your FTP portal and all of that, having to download an FTP client, sorting out your HTML files. Get a wee bit. Dreamweaver, aye. When I first used the internet about 50 years ago, I managed to score the email address of hammy@hotmail.com. That's something. Because you are a Hotmail. FileZilla, 100%. I let it expire. I used to own jameshouston.com, the URL. And it expired once because I was literally just too poor to afford to renew it. And it wasn't that expensive, but I was a teenager at the time. I just didn't have any money at all. And I let jameshouston.com expire. And every now and again, I mean, I've got an alert so as that if whoever currently has it lets it expire, I'll get a notification. But I don't think they've got any intentions of letting it go. Quiva, how you doing? Thank you very much for subbing. Welcome in. Maximum respect to you. Thank you very much for 33 months. How's it going? Legend. What a legend. Wireless technology is, IMO, one of those things that are quite mind-bending to try and fathom, even when you have an idea of theory. What an incredible thing to come up with. Aye, 87 Aldrich. Some technologies like that, I just don't know. Like, I know about it in principle, but see when you get to like how stuff is actually working, I can tell you all about a processor and RAM and what they do and all of that. But somebody's like, well, how does a processor work? You're like, well, like silicon wafers and like transistors, right? And I have no fucking clue. How do microwaves work? I don't really know. Vibrating water molecules or something like that? I don't know. But it's a miracle time. It's a miracle time that we're living in. If it wasn't for all of that, I wouldn't give a single fuck about computers. It is magic, basically. We have taught sand how to think by using lightning. It's something into it. And that's even without all these generative LLM models and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, listen, everybody, we did not do the thing. We just didn't do it. I'm in work tomorrow, so I need to get to bed. But I might give you a wee lunchtime stream tomorrow. Sorry we didn't do the thing. I totally bait and switched you. So I'm very, very sorry. But listen, these things happen. And what I'm going to do is... Right, Taffman's doing like this weird endurance thing, but we'll go in and check. So Taffman has been streaming Civilization for 4 hours and 47 minutes. But earlier on I checked him and he was streaming Civilization for about 6 hours at that point. So he's doing some sort of... Well, we'll go and see if he's alright. Aye, Quiva, no bother. Sorry that your face was in the background for that long. What I'm going to do is, for all this stuff... Look, here, I'll do this. Absolutely no bother. For faces and stuff coming up, they're going to just come up for like a second or so and then disappear. But I've not set up to do that yet. I'll make that happen before the next stream. I was trying to add stuff, but it's not quite working great. And sometimes folk have got profile pictures that I don't... There was a logo a couple of days ago, and I was like, is that a good logo? It turns out it was a fine logo, but I don't really have any control over what comes up. So there's some things that I'm like, I wouldn't mind a clear button. And also, they don't need to be on screen for as long. So you're right, I will get it fixed. Anyway, everybody, catch you after. Keep it real, take it easy. I think I've got time for a magic trick. It looks like this. I think I flubbed it. Wasn't great. Wasn't my best. See you later. All the best. Thanks for coming in. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Anyway, without further ado, it's Big Taff Man. Bye then. See you later. Bye.